So my name is Tom Dietzel. I'm the captain of the 27th Continental Regiment. We are a reenacting group out of southeastern Massachusetts, and here we are today in Blackstone to talk a little bit about life in the Revolutionary War. So we've all been reenacting for various number of years. I've been reenacting about a decade now. Al, our regimental doctor, has been doing this for over 20 years. And so we've always had an interest in history and interest in the Revolutionary period. And so being able to get involved in a hobby where we get to not only kind of exercise our own nerdiness, but we do get to, of course, educate, which is really, really great. We connect with the children, connect with the public, just about things they don't necessarily get to learn. You can learn about, Americans wearing blue, but you can't feel what a coat, how hot it is on a hot day, So it's a great way to really experience the life rather than just names and dates. So we have a little miniature encampment here today. So what we have is a few things you might see inside a very small encampment. So we have our regimental doctor. Every regiment would have had some sort of medical service, and mostly they'd be nothing more than a lightly trained surgeon. You get hit in the arm and taking your arm off, that sort of thing. We do have a tent here just showing off some of our fashion. Necessarily wouldn't have fashion walking around, but you did have regimental tailors to make sure that men were properly uniformed and that when their clothing started going all to rags, they could always replace them. And then over here we have a couple of smaller tents to show how our enlisted men are living. One of the things we get to teach is really the difference between the officers like myself and the enlisted men and how rough of a life they would really have it. One of our more popular stations, we have an armaments tent here, so we have one of our privates discussing the weaponry, the muskets, and the rifles, and of course, all the other accoutrement that soldiers would have been carrying. And lastly, we have the officers' tent, my home, where we also get to discuss not only how the officers live, but of course, women's role in the 18th century, especially in the Army as well. So it's a little snippet of what a camp would look like. Of course, we're missing a few hundred guys and a few pieces of canvas, but it gets you the flavor of it nonetheless. We don't portray any particular characters, but I'm dressed as a captain in the, so you can tell I'm Massachusetts. So I'm wearing a blue coat with white facing, shows a New England regiment. And the captain, you can see I have one epaulette as well as a yellow cockade. So that shows that I'm an infantry captain. If my epaulette was gold, that'd be artillery.
Let's say you had high blood pressure and you're always tired and you're always red and you're winded. Most of the time in the 18th century, they didn't know what high blood pressure was. They thought you had too much blood, and so they would drain some of that blood away from you, calling it bad blood, and it was going to make you feel better. Your heart and your system was going to make new blood. Let's get rid of the old blood. You take this, put this against your arm, and push it in. They'd make a puncture wound, and basically they would be able to take blood out of you that way. Worst case scenario, they would just split a vein with this and take the blood out of you. Dragon blood. It is from China. It was used to help you go to the bathroom. It was used so often that the doctors or guys like us would give you one and say, okay, I'm going to give you some today, take this tomorrow. It would help you if I could be able to give you smaller samples and take away with you. Obviously, honey, like your mom does. Tea and honey, much better than that. Worst case scenario, they gave you opium. Opium is used in case you have severe pains, aches, pretty much on the deathbed. They would give you a little bit of opium. It was hard to get, came from China.
And so this is actually for reinforcement. So they actually had to put something here in order to keep this section of the tail open. Because whereas this part can clip and unclip, they want to reinforce the fabric. So rather than just putting like a little diamond or a little triangle or whatever they want there, just the heart's just a nice little decorative thing. Yeah, so you think this is an officer's coat or a private's coat?
It's a private's coat.
That's right. So that's going to be a soldier's coat versus an officer's coat. So I actually would have had to pay for my own stuff. Officers bought their uniforms, whereas soldiers' coats are actually going to come from the Army.
We have, in the 18th century, we do not have any kind of artificial or plastic for clothing. So any kind of polyester does not exist in the 18th century. Like Under Armour, so does not exist. This is a men's shirt. It's called the men's work shirt. They're very long and they're all stitched and sewn in the same pattern. You would probably own one or two in your life. A chemise, same thing. Lots of room, lots of very, very comfortable. That's what I'm wearing too. Stays or a corset. That's part of the underwear that is adjustable. These are men's pants. Again, very comfortable. No zippers, did not exist. Till you were old enough to go to the bathroom yourself, you would not be wearing, as a boy, you would not be wearing pants. For 2 till they're probably 3, 3.5, everybody wears the chemise. Our gloves are fingerless gloves because we need to be able to work with our hands all the time. Normally women would we all wear a kind of a knife, which is not a weapon. It's something we use for working in the field or when you're cooking. If you guys want to hold it, it's a very heavy material. So try hold this. This is something you wear a lot of material there, okay?
6 men shared this tent. Okay? Not that all 6 men would be in there at the same time. You probably have only 2 guys in there because the Army was a 24-hour operation. The 6 men in a tent, they were called a mess. Has anybody ever heard the word mess hall before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well that's where that came from. They would take all their food, combine it, and they'd eat bugs too if they found any. Who's had a Big Mac before?
I eat Big Macs all the time.
Could you live on 1 Big Mac a day?
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what they got the equivalent of that. Salted pork or salted beef. So you had to boil it all day to get the, so you could eat it and get the salt out of it. And the bread was like hardtack, so they had to soak that all day so you could chew it and keep your teeth. Okay, because your teeth were important to rip open your cartridge. You had to have 2 good front teeth. There's a couple jackets in there, like white and green, are hunting frocks, okay? Typically they were white, and there's no running water in camp. So what do you think the chances of getting sick in the Army is?
A lot.
Very
Like 1
high.
in 90,000.
They would put their musket ball on the bottom of that, okay? That would go down into the barrel of their musket.
Oh, yeah. The thing you put on a gun, it starts with a B. Musket. Bayonet. Bayonet, not a musket.
Brian, that goes.
Hi.
You know what these are good for?
What?
Cooking. Put a piece of meat at the bottom of this.
It's also good for skinning.
Get you back.
Welcome to the weapons tent. How's everyone doing so far, though? Having a good day?
Yeah.
Okay. We have 3 different kinds of muskets here. Okay. We have the brown bess musket, which would be used by the British. British would use this musket in particular because it was durable. It would fire all the time, as long as they kept it clean, and they kept a nice flint inside of there. The flint is a little stone that ignites the metal right here. It's called a steel. It's going to ignite the gunpowder in the barrel, and then that's going to ignite and shoot the bullet out of the barrel. So first of all, to start out with, okay, you would take a cartridge from your cartridge box, bite it off, pour it inside of the frizzen right here. Everyone see that little hole right there? Everyone see that? That little hole is what's going to connect the rest of the gunpowder in the barrel. So I'm going to shut it because what don't I want to happen?
To explode or anything.
No, I don't want my gunpowder to fall on the ground. 'Cause I just poured some in here, right? And then I'm going to take it, pour the rest of the cartridge into the barrel, along with the bullet. Not today, or not right now. I'm going to remove the ramrod. I'm going to push down the cartridge. Once it's down there, tap it in, take it out, and return the ramrod. Now my gun is ready to fire. All I have to do is cock it back. And as you can see, like I said, this little stone called a flint creates a spark. Everyone ready? Don't worry, it's not gonna explode, it's not gonna hurt you. Everyone see that little spark? Here you go, ready? See that little spark, right? And that's all you need is that little spark just to
Light up the gun.
Exactly, precisely. This is a cartridge box, okay? Inside of it, you have the cartridges filled with gunpowder. These are only filled with black powder, but normally the ball would be in here also. Next we have here is a what?
Bayonet.
A bayonet, yeah, exactly.
Like a dagger?
No, it's not a dagger. This is actually a tool that you'd be putting on the end of a musket, okay? And you would turn your musket into a spear. Can you tell me the difference of looking at these 2 things? What's the difference?
Thick.
One's tall,
It's thicker.
Look at the shape of it.
One's thicker, one's thinner.
triangle.
Like a triangle, right? You would have a triangle wound rather than a nice flat wound. So therefore the surgeon
Can't fix that.
can't fix it. he can try, but it's not going to be successful. So there, like I said, there was more deaths created by this weapon than these muskets that were shot at each other. Every soldier had to have a musket, cartridge box, 60 rounds, a bayonet, and then either 2 different kinds of side weapons. A hatchet is not balanced, okay? A tomahawk is balanced, meaning that the weight of the actual blade is equal to the length of the handle. Now, when you throw a tomahawk, you would be able to it would spin throughout the air, and then you could hit something. Correct? What else can this be used for?
Fighting.
Fighting. Okay, we know it's going to be used for fighting. What else? Yeah.
Hunting.
Hunting. Yeah, you can use it for hunting. Yeah.
Cutting wood.
Cutting wood. One more thing. Think of something. If I'm holding the tomahawk like this, right, and I'm around camp, and I switch it around like this, what does this become?
A hammer.
A hammer, exactly.
This is where the captain would stay. This is his bed. Usually they would be probably wood with rope in between with a mattress of straw. In this basket he would carry any extra clothes that he might have. This is called a bounty coat. Some of the states, when the men went into war and they had no money to give to them, they made them coats and they called them bounty coats. One of the things the captain does when he comes in at night is he keeps a journal or he keeps a diary. And he would write down his thoughts of the day and anything that he wanted to keep important to him. He writes orders also. Last night he received this: "Dear Captain, intelligence has shown us that you're a target of British scouts. Please take care of any spies who know that you will attempt to capture you. Be prepared to defend. I pray this command reaches you in time. Take care, your most humble servant, George Richards." And so last night they posted a couple of guards, knowing that there were British scouts in the area. An ink, a scroll with the, and he writes. And this is the sand that he would pour over just to dry it. This is a pencil, has the lead with the pieces. And that's something that he may buy in the store. He does payroll, and hence the pistol. So he has the pistol here just for a little more protection, although he's well guarded. The men actually prefer to have the coins because the paper money is printed in Massachusetts, and it's for Massachusetts only. If he goes out of state to New York or Rhode Island, the Massachusetts money is no good. This is called a piece of 8. Well, when a captain or anyone, officer, went to get a haircut, the barber might tell him that's going to cost you 2 pieces of 8. And he has this, which is 8. They literally cut out with clippers the money that they need. So if he needs 2, he would cut 2 pieces out. Do you know what the spoon might be made out of?
Wood. Burnt wood.
Any other guesses?
Plastic.
Bone.
Bone.
Antlers.
Oh my god. That's gross.
And this is called a noggin. The noggin is taken from the branch of the tree. You know, the knot on the branch of the tree? They would cut that off, hollow it out, and he would have a noggin. Kind of looks like a baseball hat. Isn't it this way? Yeah, right.
I have
Yes.
2 questions.
Okay.
The first one is, if the officer wanted somebody to stay near them, would he sleep right there and then the person would sleep on the floor?
It would probably be his wife, and his wife would have the bed, and he would sleep on the floor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they cook in here, or do they go somewhere to cook?
No.
Sleep on the bed?
There would be a cooking area, and they would cook for the captain.
Company, make ready!